back to another project. This is called Britannia. Now I have used a British flag here, and that's why I've called it as Britannia, and I think the colours go really well together. The feature of this bag is using mitered handles, the zipper on the top, lots of pockets inside, and I have also made a slip and a zip pocket, which means when you make your pocket, you put the zip on, and it also acts as a slip pocket where you could put items of like your keys and things like that. The pattern is made to go with two different colors here, so you can alternate printed and plain fabric or two solid colors as well. Let's go ahead and get started with this project. Let's go through what we need for this project. I have already prepared my handle. So that's like a V handle. If you want to learn how to make this handle, go and watch the separate video that's in the series. And here we have all the pocket panels. This is for the square pocket panel, and the U pocket, which is going inside, I have already prepared it again. If you want to learn how to finish this binding finish on the U pocket, just go ahead and watch the separate video. And the rectangular patch pocket, I'm going to show you how to do it in this video. And this is another slip pocket with a little bit of pleat and compartments in there. I'm going to show that. And here is your zip. Basically, I have edge stitched the with a little panel right at the end and at the beginning. Again, there's a separate video how to make this. And here we have the top and bottom panel of the bag. And we also have the lining, which I have taken a really thick canvas fabric, and this is a denim fabric and that's a curtain fabric. So let's start off with the pocket and then go through step by step. We also need black bias binding. It will come up on the screen how much has been used in this project. I've also got a little flag, UK flag, where I have used a double-sided interfacing inside and just made it like a label, which we're going to attach it on the bag later on. This is the long patch pocket, which we're going to bind it with bias binding at the edge, only one side, and this goes across the side of the bag. And here is the bias binding. We're going to go and do this when we go to the sewing machine. But to prepare the patch pocket, here we have two layers. This is the bottom, this is actually the top. The reason this is so big is you'll see later on. This will act as a slip-in pocket plus a zipper pouch, okay? So that's how we need to attach it. Now the way to do it, we don't want to be binding seams and trying to do overlocking. I'll show you a little trick where you don't need to line this. So basically we're going to slip this one to the side like so, and just make sure, usually your pattern will always be a little bit longer than you need. So basically what we're going to do, place it like just so that you could see the zipper tape ever so slightly, not 1/4 inch, not 1/8 inch, it's just a little bit so the fabric would cover. Okay, now we go and sew a 1/8 inch stitch or 1/4 inch stitch on the edge. What I normally do is I start off leaving the zipper puller there. I start off from there and finish it, and once I have done that, I'm going to go and slip this over, and then again place it so you can see the zipper tape ever so slightly, and go and sew from there to there. Once I've done both, I'm just going to slip this puller away and then close the other two. Just makes it slightly easier. Okay, there is the zipper, and that is the right side, wrong side of the fabric, and I'm going to place it like so I can see ever so slightly the zipper tape, and I'm going to go and place my foot. I'm just using my ordinary foot. If it's comfortable for you, just go ahead and use the zipper foot. So my zipper tape is here. I'm edging that to there, and I'm slightly moving my needle so that I can get kind of somewhere in between. So I'm just going to go and sew. Okay, so we've left that much because we're going to pull the zipper back and do it later on. Now what we're going to do is lift this over and then take the right side of the fabric, place it on the zipper like so, turn it over and just match the two lines so that we get a straight line. Starting from the edge, just go and sew so you can see a little bit of zipper tape. We now need to finish this part, so I'm just going to pull my zipper back, close it like so. You can either go and sew from the zipper tape side or you can sew from the fabric side. So let me just go ahead and finish that. Same way, turn it over on the other side, place it and finish. When you turn over and put the zipper back, you'll see that you have given equal seam allowance on either side, and there's no up and down when you start and finish around the zipper puller. Okay, we need to just press it with a hot iron. So let's just go ahead so that we get a neat seam. Just go ahead and do that. So now we go ahead and put a top stitch on either side. When you do the top stitch, because we have given the zipper tape was seen here, when we put the top stitch, all these raw edges will be closed within the tape, so you don't need to bind this again. Place it like so and just sew a top stitch. Just make sure when you do a top stitch, the zipper tape, the end of the zipper tape is catching underneath. You can see now that this is caught in and there's no raw edges. Let's go ahead and do the same on the other side. We finished doing the top stitching. Basically fold it like so and bring the two edges together, and we just go and sew a 1/4 inch stitch, starting and finishing with the back stitch. Okay, that's the seam we have just done, and let's just go ahead and press the seams open. Once you've done that, just turn this over like so. At this stage, if you want the pocket to be longer, you could just kind of shift it like so. Now I quite like my pocket to be there where it is, so at this join I'm just going to go and kind of press it properly. Okay, now what we're going to do is bind the two edges with bias binding. Take your bias binding about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch extra on either side. So we're going to go and bind these two edges. So before we do that, we have a lot of fabric here, which means I'm just going to go and trim a little bit because we don't need so much. So I'm just going to go and trim this side as well. Open the fold on your bias binding, place it like so, and go and sew a stitch on the fold the same way here as well. Okay, we're gonna place my binding like so, and I'm just going to go and sew on the fold. Okay, the allowance is a bit too much, so we're going to trim about half of the allowance off so we can bind the edge properly. Okay, now what we're going to do is turn this like so and fold this extra bit in. This has to be very neat because otherwise you're going to end up having like a wonky sort of pocket. And once it's turned in, place it, fold it into half like so, and just feel your way so that the edge on the back will match this edge here, and go and sew a stitch on the top. So now when I do this, I'd like to make the edge a little bit narrow, because then when I fold it like so, I don't see it coming on the top here. When I'm coming to the finishing point again, I'm going to go and tuck this in and fold it like so and finish it. So now go ahead and do exactly the same on the other side as well. both the bindings on either side is finished, and if you look at it on both sides, it's neatly finished. When we go and patch this on a bag, basically what we will do is start from here, go all the way here, here and here, and finish here. That way this will be a patch pocket and also a zipper pocket as well. This is the long pocket for the inside, and we're going to bind it on one side only at the edge, and this bit is going to go in the side seam, and this we're going to fold and stitch later on. Okay, so let's just fold the bias binding into half like so, go and place it at the edge, and you just sew a stitch on the top. Basically I'm just holding it like so and nesting the fabric inside, and just go and sew the binding at the edge. That is our 2 layers of lining. Now we need to go and patch the pockets. So basically we're going to patch the U pocket on one side. On the other side we're going to go and patch this pocket. Okay, so let's go ahead and place it. This placement is entirely up to you. If you want it to be slightly higher up so you can reach it quite easily, just go and do that. And what we're going to do, just go and sew an edge stitch all around. So I'm just going to put a couple of pins like so, and we just go and sew an edge stitch. So that's one layer of the lining. On the other layer of lining, this is the right side, we're going to place it probably about 5 inches from the edge on the top, and match the edge to the edge, and we're going to go and sew the side stitch. Okay, before we do that, we just need to fold it into like 1/2 inch at the bottom and go and make an iron mark. Just press it like so and go and make an iron mark. I've just creased with an iron at the bottom about 1/2 inch, and I have placed it 5 inches from the edge on both the sides. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the crease where it is and then open the fabric up like so. Okay, and then I just go and make a marking on either side. That way I can get a straight line. So now let me go and take my ruler and just make that marking, because that's where we're going to place the pocket. Okay, that's where I'm going to place the pocket, but we're not going to leave the extra fabric on either side. We're going to start like so. Okay, now when we do it like so and attach the seam, we have got this extra bit of fabric. So there are different ways of doing it. What I normally do is just do kind of 3 pleats, 1 approximately in the center and 2 on the side like so. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the pleat, and after you do the pleat and maybe put a couple of pins, now go and sew a stitch on the fold along with the pleat all the way, starting and finishing with a back stitch. When I come on the pleat, I just give a little back stitch for extra strength. Here is the stitch we have just sewn, and we turn it upwards and then match the seams like so, and then kind of crease your pleat and press it with hot iron. Same way, we're going to crease the center pleat and the other pleat. We're going to go and sew this 2 sides so that the pocket is secure. Also, we're going to go and sew, keeping this pleat as a guideline, we're going to go and sew a stitch next to the pleat, all 3 of them. That way you've got 4 pockets here. 1 could be for your mobile phone and slightly bigger items. If you don't want like 4 pockets, just go and do 2 pleats, 1 probably here and 1 here. That way you would get 3 pockets. I've changed my foot to edge stitching foot. This comes handy when I start sewing on the pleat. So this is the edge one that I'm just putting an edge stitch. And now we're going to go and sew a stitch right next to the pleat. So we're going to keep this as a guideline, so my stitch is not going on the pleat, just next to the pleat. We are now sewing the U pocket onto the other side of the lining. So I've left my edge stitching foot here, and I'm just going to adjust my needle, and I always start somewhere in the center so I can come back and finish it at the center. What I'm doing is I'm kind of leaving this edge aligning to the edge of the binding, and that will guide to have a neat stitch. We have prepared both sides of the lining by attaching the pockets. Now we need to keep this aside and prepare the front panel of the bag. So here is the front panel of the bag and the pocket and the handle, the little tab. So before we go ahead and attach them, we need to attach these two panels. This is the top panel, this is the bottom panel of the bag. So match your right sides like so, and go and sew a 1/2 inch stitch starting and finishing with a back stitch. The same way we're going to attach this panel as well. Here is the top and bottom panel we have just attached. Now we need to just press the seams open. Here's the seam that we have just opened, and that's one side of the bag. And this is the other side of the bag. We need to go and sew a stitch on either side so the seams will always remain flat. This is entirely up to you. You can also do a little decorative stitch on the denim side if you wish, but I'm just going to go and sew a normal stitch. I've changed my foot to the edge stitching foot, and I'm going to place the guide in the center so the guide is aligning to the center join, and go and sew a stitch. When you come to the end, just turn over a couple of stitches and then turn again. Now position your foot back to the edge, kind of aligning to the line of the sewing, and then start sewing a stitch. Remember, always keep your eye on this attachment and not on the needle. Okay, there's the two main panels of the bag. We've just finished sewing the top stitching on either side of the seam. Let's go ahead and place the handle on the pocket and see what looks good. So my idea is that it would be sitting like so. Now I'm going to place my pocket a little bit below the seam like so. So the handle will sit like that, and then I want my little tab to go on the side like so. Okay, so before we do this, we need to make some marking. Now once you're happy where your zipper pouch is, just go ahead and place a pin. And remember, we're only doing this on one side of the bag. If you want this pouch to be on the other side, you need to sew another pocket using the pattern you have. So before we go and sew the handle, we need to make some markings because we need to make sure that this is dead straight in the center. Okay, so let me just put this aside and go and fold this and make a center notch mark. Okay, from the center notch mark, I'm going to go and place my measuring tape, and I'm going to make 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches. So there's a 5-inch mark and a 2.5-inch mark. So starting. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you really enjoyed the project. If you did,